Yeah, trendsetter, whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center, hit it dead center. Bullseye, hit it the most, is no misses. Something like fish in a barrel, it's no different. Blindfold on me, I still got the most vision. Trendsetter.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Carnivore Evolution. I'm Victoria Olson, and Mark Ennis is also here. We're your hosts, and our guest today is Dennis Ford, who's a co-founder of the support group for carnivores called Beyond the Bite, and he also has a tremendous health journey to tell us about today. Hello, and welcome, Dennis.
Hey guys, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for
Nice to
having
have
me
you on.
on. I'm excited to share
Oh,
my story. Yeah.
our pleasure, yes. So we'd like to hear a bit about your health journey, which is pretty extensive. We'd like to know more about it. Where did you get started with carnivore, and what transpired before that?
Yeah, so I started Carnivore in September of 2022. I joined Dr. Chafee's Carnivore Challenge, but what led up to that was in 2017 I had a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes.
Oh my.
So not that I ever thought I was like like physically in the best shape of my life, but I never in my wildest imagination thought that I would ever get a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. Looking back now, I see the pictures, the before pictures, and I'm like, wow, now I understand, how overweight I was. But it all started probably I'm going to go back to even when I was a child. I remember that my mother would take me to Weight Watchers when I was younger, probably in my teens. I always remember enjoying food, not necessarily sugary things, but soda was a staple in our house. Pepsi was like in the, early 80s, late 80s. That's was in the house. That's every dinner was, there was a bottle of soda on the table. And I remember I enjoyed every sip that I took of the soda. It was just, and it probably didn't have high fructose corn syrup like it does now, but it definitely was sugar, right?
Yeah,
Cane
still
cane
sugar.
sugar at some point, right? And I just remember I always enjoyed food, and it's probably more. It was probably more of a comfort thing. Even before I started carnivore, I was eating for comfort. I enjoyed it, whether it was sitting down watching a football game with chips and dips and wings and beer and soda. And I was a smoker for 30 years.
Mm.
So I was pretty sick. I was sick when I got the type 2 diabetes diagnosis. I look back at all my medical records, and I had gout, I had diverticulitis, I had psoriasis, I had a fatty liver. My gastroenterologist pointed it out, and she wanted me to go see a liver specialist. I had kidney stones, chronic inflammation, edema, sleep apnea, like all these things I
Wow.
thought was part of getting old. Because they started when I was like 43 years old. When I woke up and I had my big toe was inflamed and I couldn't even walk on it. And it was swollen like it looks like I had broken it. And I couldn't put any pressure on it. Couldn't even put a bed sheet on it. That the pain was excruciating. I just thought it was like, okay, so nobody ever told me. My doctor gave me a cortisone shot in it. I walked out like I could go do sprints, right? Because it just kind of got rid of the problem, the immediate problem of the inflammation. I guess it was a steroid injection, cortisone. Um, and, with my diverticulitis, it was, kind of like, hey, we might have to do a resection of your colon. After like the second time I got it, I probably had it like 4 times before I went carnivore. And, they wanted to do a surgery. They wanted to do surgery on it. And I never got it done. And since have no longer have that as an ailment or symptom. But all these things that I had, really looking back now, after doing a ton of research, were symptoms of metabolic disease. Probably the only thing I didn't have was high blood pressure. When what's the metabolic syndrome? You have your waist circumference is greater than it should be. High blood pressure. What's the fasting glucose, and I had them all. I mean, my A1C was 9.2. 5.1 now, which is great. But
Wow. Wow.
I love telling my story because it's the last 7 years, 8 years now of healing. So it's so important for people to realize that, in my eyes, that it takes time. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, I think I guess anybody that's going to turn to some diet, whether it's, was Atkins or it's, keto, carnivore, paleo, when somebody recommends it to you, you're thinking like, hey, this person, look at them. They look great now. They lost the weight, the inflammation, the swelling. They think that they're going to start it and it's going to, happen overnight, and it doesn't. I'm 8 years into my journey, and I still struggle. I mean, I'm a sugar addict, right? It's like being a smoker. I can't have one cigarette because I'll have two packs in one day. Also, not smoking, sugar. If I go near it and I touch it, I know I'm at the point now where I can, if I want to, and occasionally I will, but I know it's not good for me. And but I also know that I can get back on with my next meal, or the next thing I put in my mouth is not going to be a continuation of that. I know I could, I'm human. I'm going to fall off the wagon, right? But it's can you get back on the wagon, right? Some people.
You made a very, very good point there, Dennis, about healing. This is something that I'm always saying to people, like, listen, that when we look at what's going on in the world at the moment, everybody's just focusing on weight loss. They're looking for these quick fixes, lose the
Yeah.
weight. Everybody's convinced I just need to lose weight and I'll be healthy. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't make a difference what you eat. As long as you lose weight, we automatically think, when we see all the time on social media, people with six packs, we see the women with amazing bodies, and we automatically think that these people are extremely healthy. But I know people in the industry that look incredible, and they develop type 2 diabetes. I've heard women have had issues with PCOS, endometriosis, and it's like, well, you need to understand, because the biggest pushback we see with carnivore and keto is that if you cut out carbohydrates, you're going to lose weight because you're losing a lot of water weight. But people don't understand that with all this inflammation that you're putting into your body, this is the reason why these diseases happen in the first place. So it's like, what are you trying to focus on here? Are you trying to focus on losing weight, or are you trying to focus on fixing your life? So are you trying to heal? And if you are trying to heal, you need to understand that if you've been doing a lot of damage to your body over the years, like what Dennis did, it's going to take a bit of time. Dennis is 8 years into this, and he's still figuring this out. He hasn't figured it out all. He's done a lot better
Yeah.
than where he is right now, but he's still getting there. And don't get me wrong, I'm in the same position as you, Dennis. I'm 4 years into this, and there has been times when I'm thinking of, okay, I could have a piece of chocolate, but I know if I have one piece of chocolate, that's going to set me off big time.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
important
That's all it
to
takes.
heal. That should be everybody's starting point, is I want to heal. Like, the weight loss will come, but that's usually the go-to for everybody is the weight
Yeah.
loss, and it'll come. But it's really important to me. I'm a very determined person. If somebody tells me, hey, if you jump in that river and swim 10 miles, you're gonna heal your body, I'll do it. That's how I am. But I realize that that's not always. In my journey, I realized that it's great to be determined, but you also have to know that, how do I say it?
I think you have to realize that you do have a problem in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely, and being vulnerable. Like, there's people out there that say, like, hey, that this is it. I eat bacon and eggs. That's it. And maybe there's a handful that do that, but most can't. You have to do something that is going to be sustainable, right?
Mm.
It's gonna work for you in the long term. It's not gonna be a short term, like like a sprint. You can't sprint for 26 miles. You can sprint for maybe 40, 50 yards, but then you're going to be gassed out, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how I look at it. Like, you have to do what's going to kind of make it sustainable, and this is forever now. I know this is forever for me. I know that I'm not. I can't go back to the way I used to be, because I know I'm going to have major problems. And now I'm not
Yeah.
24 and doing it, and 30 and doing it, and 40. Now I'm 50, 55 years old in a couple of weeks. Like, my body's not going to handle these things the same way it did when I was 24,
Exactly.
you know?
So do you feel at this stage in your life now you finally found food freedom?
I do, but like I said, I also in the back of my head sometimes I'm walking through the store, and listen, I could walk past it 100 times and nope, doesn't even, not a thought in my mind about buying something, and then
Mm.
that just that one time I'm like, I'm like,
Mm.
that's I might I might enjoy, a handful of that, but for the most part, absolutely though, my cravings are almost for the processed, ultra processed foods, the sugar, it's pretty much gone. I know I
Mm.
can. It's under control for me. Let's put it that way.
And when you're in that situation in the shop, what tells you this? What gives you that urgency to say, okay, stop, you can't do this. You can't go down this road anymore. What's the talk me through the mindset. What's going on
Yeah,
in that
because
moment?
so when I'm in the stores, I pay very close attention to other people. It doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't have to be a food store. It could be any store. Very, like, I notice things, right? People. And when I see people in the store shopping, and then I look at them, and I'm like, that's why I don't do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I look at the wagons, I look at them grabbing the 2 liter bottles of soda off the shelf, and all the pre-made foods and stuff, and I'm like, man, that used to be me. I used to
Mm.
be like, and I understand sometimes people, you have families, both parents are working, you have to, it's the mad rush to hurry up and get home from work, and hey,
Mm.
tomorrow night I'm not going to be home until 9 o'clock. My kids need something. I'm just going to pop this in. I get it. Sometimes it's no fault of our own that this happens, but
Mm.
it's just life. But I look at that sometimes and I'm like, no, I can't do that. That's not not me. Not
And
gonna
it's
happen.
such a sad reality, isn't it? When we see parents that are getting, you can clearly see just by looking at them that they're not healthy, and then you see their kids walking around, and everybody just keeps on saying, "Okay, my child is overweight because it's genetics, because I'm overweight,"
No, no.
and
No,
it's
it's
like
heartbreaking.
it's desperately sad. It really
I
is.
was
I
telling a
mean, we
story. I'm sorry. Go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead,
I
go
was
ahead.
I was telling a story the other day, and I was shopping in the store, and I saw 2 kids in the wagon, that little feet dangling out, young, probably 4 years old, 3 years old maybe, and two separate people, not only about 15 feet apart from each other. And both the kids were eating a chocolate chip cookie, and they were like just nibbling on it. They had it by their mouth. And I thought they were together, because I'm like, what are the chances of 2 kids close to the same
Hmm.
age, that close together, both nibbling on a chocolate chip cookie? And I looked, and I'm like, they don't even know each other, because they
Mm-hmm.
turned around, and I'm like, one went that way, one went that way, and I'm like, these kids, they just, while they're shopping, probably to keep them quiet, and here you go, here you go, and then the next thing you know, these kids are, they're setting themselves up for, not a good, healthy journey in
And
life.
can
Yeah.
I ask you a question? And I'll ask you a question. I'll ask you the same question, Victoria. Um, who do you blame for this? Do you blame the parents, or do you blame the powers to be? Like, where do you stand on this? Because a
No,
lot.
so I don't blame the parent. Well, let me say this: my kids, they don't eat like I do. I've tried. Right when they were
Mm.
living with me in the same under the same roof, I tried to tell them when I realized what was happening, and the right way to do it. But they still went out, and they still, they're
Mm.
adult, 26, 23, and 18 or 19, and they do their own thing. They go out and they buy, but they're same thing to the fast food, to the
Mm.
this, to that. Just I don't necessarily, it's great marketing. It's just addiction. The foods are prepared in a certain way, whether it's a potato chip or it's ice cream or it's a ready-made meal. They're all set up and prepared by
Yeah.
scientists for
It's
failure or addiction.
cultural. It's cultural. It's ingrained in us. It's our environment at home and away. It's everywhere, and it's so hard to avoid it.
Yeah,
And I did the
yeah.
same thing. I raised my kids with minimal sugar. We weren't big on desserts and treats, but and for they stay away from it for the most part, but it is so ingrained in us.
Yeah.
And I'm a grandmother now, and it's all I can do not to give them sugary treats and to try to steer them. And when they're here, they eat protein, so and have some fat. And the little one, the 3-year-old, doesn't like butter.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh boy, here's a challenge. So yes, it's so ingrained in us. It's second nature. And even as carnivores, I'm what 6, 7 years carnivore. It's just there. It's so ingrained.
Yeah, I completely agree with you because I've had this conversation with many, many people on social media when you see these kids start getting obese and everybody's blaming the parents and they're saying that this is child abuse, the parents should be arrested. But I'm like, hang on a second, back up a little bit. Like that child can walk into a shop anytime he wants. He's watching TV every day, every day. What's every second ad that you watch on TV? It's always commercialized. It's always in the child's face. So how can you blame a parent? And at the end of the day, if the parent is not educated and doesn't know how to eat properly, how can we blame the parents? Because the parents have been told what we've been told. We were told 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We all went through this. We were all told we can eat this stuff in moderation. That's what we were all told. We were all told you can have this stuff. It's all about balance. You can eat your carbohydrates as long as it's in moderation. Nobody ever told us. Well, nobody ever told me 30 years ago carbohydrates weren't bad for you. I was told that carbohydrates were absolutely essential for your body.
Yeah, when I got
Essential.
diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, the endocrinologist pointed me right down to the end of the hallway, said, go in that door over there. That's a nutritionist, dietitian. She's going to give you a whole setup. And, I looked at it then like it was like, I need to follow this. I didn't know any different. They put me on Jardiance, metformin, Victoza, which is a GLP-1, which I had no idea that it was then. It was just in 2017, they were just like, here, take these. I took them all. Eventually, I took myself off of all of them because I changed my diet, my eating habits, my lifestyle, and started exercising and stuff. And so I took myself off the medications. But I did whatever they said. So if that dietitian was trained to say, hey, here, majority of your plate needs to be carbs, cruciferous vegetables, and then a little, some protein, and then a tiny little bit of fat, maybe. That's what I was going to do. Because that's what I was told. I knew nothing about diabetes. And then over the course of a year, I started doing a lot of research. And I'm like, every morning I'm sticking myself with this pen. I'm like, this can't be right. There's no way I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Because the endocrinologist told me, he's like, this is, you got it now. You just have to manage it. And you just, it's one of those things where you got it.
Yeah.
Now,
it's
almost
awful.
like I got type 1, like that's how he was talking. Like I had type 1, my pancreas stopped working and I'm not producing insulin anymore. And I was like, this was like, I felt like it was a death sentence, but that's what scared me into it. And I think a lot of people need to be scared, and most people probably need to be scared into making the change. Because if you don't have any, bad diagnosis, whatever, it could be heart disease, cancer, diabetes, you're probably not going to be able to make a drastic change that you need to make, right?
Yeah.
You may cut
Don't get
out
the
some things. You
motivation.
may make some small changes, but not when you get a diagnosis. That's scary. It was scary for me, and I'm assuming for most people it would be. If right now is a lot. I mean, how many millions of people have pre-diabetes? And how many people have pre-diabetes or diabetes that don't even know it? They don't even diagnose because they haven't even been to the doctor.
But not only that, Dennis, how many people in the world are on medication?
Oh, so many.
Like everybody's on medication.
So the other day I'm watching a baseball game, and in the background I see on the backstop it says so and so pharmaceutical or Reselsis or whatever, and I'm like, they're advertising pharmaceuticals at these games, these professional games. I'm like, you can't go to the drugstore and buy that. So why are you advertising that
To the consumer
who can't go buy that? You can't go to the store and buy that.
Exactly.
So why are you advertising it? I can go to the store and buy a Big Mac if you want to advertise a Big Mac. That's fine. Do that, but you can't advertise a pharmaceutical that I'm supposed to take that information and go to my doctor and say, hey, could you prescribe me this?
Give me this.
Yeah.
Did you see the Serena Williams story this week?
I did. Yeah, not happy about that at all. Not happy about that at all. that's a you know, husband apparently is involved as on the board of directors for that row.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh boy.
and so he's got a vested interest in it. So of course
You
she's
know
out
what?
there
You know
promoting
what?
it.
You know what really annoys me about this one? We interviewed. I think Victoria, you were on it as well. We
Hmm.
interviewed a woman called Victoria. Or what was her name?
Krista.
Krista. We interviewed this woman was incredible. She lives in the States, and this injection almost killed this woman. Now this story is on our podcast. This story is unbelievable. When you hear this, it's like holy shit. Everybody in the world needs to hear this. But anyway, she took this injection because these doctors were convinced that this is what's actually going to save your life because she was obese. She was a type 2 diabetic. So she was like, okay, you guys are the experts. I'm going to go by what you guys say. They couldn't figure it out. They were like, we did everything, but we can't figure this out. We can't understand why you're not losing the weight. So we need to put you on this injection. So they put her on this microdose. I think it was, I can't remember the exact dose. But she went up to the pharmacy, and the
Was a
pharmacy,
small dose, yeah.
yeah, the pharmacy then looked at the serum in the injection. She was like, "Are you sure you need to be taking this?" And she was like, "Well, this is what the doctors prescribed." And they were like, "Okay." So she went home. She took the first shot. Within an hour, she was losing her eyesight. Within an hour,
She lost her eyesight, lost her
and
vision.
then after that, she fainted 3 times. Three
Yeah.
times. Her mother had to come and she rang her mother. Her mother had to come to the apartment. When the doctors arrived, the doctors told her that your heart had stopped 3 times. Three
God.
times. And this injection almost killed her. Now, she went back to the doctors and said, listen, you guys almost killed me. Guess what happens? These people blamed her.
They denied it. Yeah.
Yep.
They denied the whole thing. This woman that did that gave her the injection, she's got certs all over her surgery saying how amazing she is. But this woman almost killed this lady. Unbelievable. And we're seeing it at the moment. How many times do you see people that are type 2 diabetic, they go in to get they get these limbs cut off, their legs. And then what do they feed you after? It's absolutely
Sugar.
criminal. It's criminal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And nobody's allowed to question it. That's the problem. Nobody's allowed to question this.
Yeah, until somebody, I think until somebody, a big name, something like that happens to somebody that's like, you see Shannon Osbourne, right? She looks
Yeah.
horrendous. She can't even eat this. She can't even get her appetite back. She lost her appetite. So, I mean, listen, so anytime you talk about the GLP-1s and, you know, there's people that advocate for it and there's people that are just against it. And anytime you say, even if you give your opinion on it, it's, you know, it's like you're attacked. But, you know, and I don't think it should be like that. I think it should be like, hey, listen, you're an adult. You do what you want. Well, I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to try and sway you. I give you my opinion. You know, here's facts. You give me facts. You know, I give you facts. And, you know, that's how the world goes round, right? But I feel like every time you say something, there's always an excuse. If you say something like, hey, it couldn't cause blindness, well, they probably already had, you know, diabetic retinopathy before this, so you know that was going to happen anyway. I feel it's always an excuse, like, oh, the you know, the connection between the brain and the stomach and that doesn't, it's not working, so this is what makes it work, you know. But you know, I feel like you know, time is, like I said before, time, you know, heals all wounds, and our bodies resilient. We didn't just trick Mother Nature, you know, a handful of years ago with this GLP-1, right? It's not how it works. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
that's the, sorry, Victoria, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say we'll find out years from now, like we did with Fen, the diet craze that was about 10 years ago, how it destroyed people's bodies. Absolutely. And now it's off the market. So I think we're going to have to sadly go through that too, to see all the negative cases that come up. And then we're going to see the end of it, hopefully.
yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
take a long time because they're making, there's like hundreds of them now, and they're making them every day. They're trying to come up with different concoctions, and you know, they got these other pharmacies, the smaller, what do they call them?
Yeah, formularies.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
mixing up different concoctions and stuff,
Yes.
and that's dangerous too because they're saying there's so many places you don't even know what you're getting. Are you getting you know, is there fillers in there that they're adding? Just when it comes down to money, people will do anything.
And, yeah, it's damaging bodies, though. And we heard recently that there's a performer in Europe, Robbie Williams. He got scurvy while he was on the Ozempic
Mm-hmm.
because you're not eating right. You're not
Mm-hmm.
eating correctly. It's not going to
Hmm.
happen on carnivore. But he got scurvy while he was taking those shots. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. It just you destroy your muscle tissue. You're losing muscle tissue when you starve yourself.
Yeah, and
So it's
I put
just negative.
I put a reel up. I put a reel up about a month ago, and all I did was I took a tray of eggs out of the fridge, and I just said just eat 12 of these eggs. It does the
So
exact same thing as Ozempic, and I got nailed for it. I got absolutely nailed for it from the doctors. The doctors were saying to me that you cannot tell people to eat 12 eggs. The cholesterol, the damage, the fats,
Oh,
all this,
please.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god! So you're telling me that the food that's natural that we should be eating that's not going to do any damage, no side effects whatsoever. You're telling me not to give this advice to people, but you're saying we're allowed to inject in people. I'm like, what's going on in the world? Like seriously, what is going on?
yeah, I'm taking 12 eggs before a dose of a
Hundred
medication.
percent.
You know,
You're gonna feel so much better. You're not gonna have
Yeah, I'll roll
yeah,
I'll roll the dice on that one.
hundred
you know.
percent. I mean, at the end of the day, if we don't take matters into our own hands, you're gonna end up worse, and that's a fact.
Yeah, I feel like it's super important, and community is important. What you guys are doing. Amy and I have the Beyond the Bite podcast, and it's just a community where people come to talk, to chat, to could be talking. It may not necessarily even be carnivore. It just could be what somebody's anticipating. They're going to have, going to a wedding, and they just, they're already getting upset about, how they're going to control their eating when they're there, and so I feel it's very important to to talk about things, and Amy enjoys doing it. She loves it. She we do our weekly meetings, and we enjoy just kind of hearing people's stories and their
Mm,
struggles, and then other it's not just me and Amy helping people, it's other members helping other members, and that's,
yeah.
to me, that's so important. Community, emotional support, mental support. We have different coaches that work for us. So I just feel like, it doesn't even have to be our group. It could be any group, but you just need to, I feel it's important. And I was never like that. I was never, ever
Mm,
a community type of person where I would need to join. Even when I joined Dr. Chafee's Carnivore Challenge, I didn't go into any meetings. I just, followed and listened and looked at the chat and kind of just got some stuff in there. But I realized after doing this with Amy that, like, you need to have other people to see, to hear, to talk to, and feel like it's just very, very important part of getting through this, because it's very difficult to get through it on your own. And if you're I don't care if it's a spouse, a child, if they're not carnivore or keto, and there's stuff all around the house, and you're doing this on your own, it's just that much harder.
mm,
If you're married and you have a wife or a husband that does it with you as well, then it makes it a lot easier, because
mm,
now the
mm.
temptations aren't there. You guys are on the same page, and if there's children involved, hopefully they're on the same page, and it just makes it easier. It's in my eyes.
That's a
100%.
great group, Beyond the Bite. I'm a member, and I've been in on a few of those sessions. I also did Dr. Chafee's for 1 month the challenge. I did it because he joined my carnivore group on Facebook, and I was interested. I was curious to see what would happen in his group, and it's nowhere near the support that Beyond the Bite on Mighty Networks offers. It's really a great support group.
Yeah, we try and give everybody a lot of different opportunities for support. We have a fitness coach, we have a mental health coach, we have different coaches that handle different autoimmune. Somebody that deals with autoimmune
Mhm.
issues. So it's fun. I enjoy it. We love kind of getting together every day with different people and hearing different stories. To me, it's good. It's a good
Very
I,
place.
valuable.
I love hearing the stories. Like I love hearing like said yourself, and we've interviewed now over 40 people, and I live in a country where nobody talks about carnivore. Nobody talks about keto, and it's really frustrating for me that I can't have these conversations in my country. I have to have these conversations with the likes of you guys, and I've always said this: if I wasn't able to have these conversations, I'd go mad. I'd go absolutely mad. I really, because I'm telling everybody around me, I'm like, listen, you've been lied to. Like, you need to listen to me, and everybody's looking at me and thinking that this guy's crazy. And I'm like, no, like, trust me, you need to listen to me. You really need to listen to me because this has literally changed my life. And when you tell people your story and you tell them how passionate your story is, like many people have heard my story. Like this, I've said this diet has literally changed my life. I'm convinced that if I wasn't on this diet, I wouldn't be here right now. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Do you feel like the metabolic dysfunction where you are is just as bad as it is here?
100%.
It is. Yeah.
100%. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah. I don't say. I mean, I don't. We're all like local to something, to some area, but and we hear about the United States all the time and how bad it is, but just yeah, I'm not really familiar with like outside the United States like
Don't get me
issues.
wrong. Now I know you guys, the ingredients you have in your food in your country is off the charts,
Yeah.
but it's just as bad here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. That's why it's so important to, do what you guys do and get out there and, you know, just little voice, but, can make a big impact in somebody's life. It doesn't have to be a million people. To me, if you help, one person. I worked with some kid that was his glucose was averaging like between 300 and 400. I'm like, if mine goes
Really?
to like 140, I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, what did I do
Yeah.
wrong? You know? And because normally I'll hover at 75, 80, maybe even 90
Mhm.
sometimes. When I wake up, it's usually in between 80 and 95. Um, but he told, I'm like, Joe, I'm like, you have to like, please. I'm like, that's like dangerous. That's almost like you have to go, you should go to the hospital when the numbers are that high. I
Mm.
said, you're going to have problems. You're going to, eyesight, blood vessels, circulation,
Go into
limbs,
a coma with that. Yes.
Yeah. And he did change and he got it. He got his A1C down from like 11.3, I think.
11. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
To like, and he was, he was like close to 350 pounds, I think. And he got it down pretty good. And he's like, it took him a little while, and then he started like bringing in food. And he's like, "Look what I got!" And he'd bring ground beef and cheese. And I said,
Mhm.
"Even if you're eating hot dogs, it's not the greatest choice, but it's better than you bringing
Absolutely.
pizza and you bringing bagels and
Mm.
butter." And I'm like,
Mhm.
carbs and fat. I'm like, you just like that's just a recipe for disaster. And so he did it. He made some changes, and then I left the company I was working for 25 years, and I moved away. And then somebody
Mhm.
told me he had moved down to Florida, and he lost his big toe on one of his
Oh,
feet. He got
no.
he got a little cut on it, and then it got infected, and
Oh.
then he had to have it taken off. But and I haven't I've been in contact with him since. But I know he knows, and maybe he did make a change, and he has changed since he had the issue with his foot. I'm hoping, but he was on the right track the last
Mhm.
time I was with him, because I was really like, I wasn't pounding it into him, but I was just always check in. Hey Joe, what'd you do for
Mhm.
dinner last night? I made this carnivore pizza. I told him, I said, cast iron skillet. I said, just press in some beef and maybe pork and stuff. Press it in there. Put it in the oven, hot, fire. Get the pan fire hot. Put it in there. Put some pepperoni and cheese on it. I said, because you gotta, he's not going to maybe necessarily go home and have a steak, because maybe he wasn't, financially, he
Mhm.
wasn't able to like, buy ribeyes every day, right? So I said, just do this. It's simple. Or I said, have, in the morning, scrambled eggs. Have a dozen scrambled eggs with cheese on it. I said, just, that's better than what you're doing. He started walking and stuff. So, if I can help somebody that wants to be helped, I will absolutely do that. 1,000 times over. It's, I don't go crazy pushing it. I'll talk to people about it, and say, hey, maybe you think about this. Just look what I used to look like, and look what I look like now. I'm like, it's a big difference. I was 240 pounds. Now I'm like 185, 190. But I'm going to the gym. I'm building muscle. Like it's a big change, and if I can help somebody, I will.
Yeah, but it is an addiction. It's definitely, and almost any processed food you pick up is full of ingredients that are designed to get you hooked. It's addiction therapy here. We're talking about addiction counseling, and it's so hard to get away from it. It's everywhere, and I'm sure when he moved, he was at loose ends and had different things to do and too busy to prepare and
Yep.
make things right. And you pick up the odd food, and you're off to the races. It's going to happen
You
again.
just fall right back into the ditch. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
Dennis, I want to be respectful of your time, but I have to ask you the question: what are you eating these days?
So I eat. I'm very much not a steak guy. I mean, I'll ground the steak up and make ground beef, but I like burgers. I eat I don't know if you guys have them, but the Teton, Teton Polish sausages they're called, but they're all
Costco.
beef. Yeah, Costco has them. Yep, I love them. But eggs, I'll get up and I eat I don't eat the whole egg. I eat the yolks. I eat them raw. I'll have that for
Really?
breakfast. I'll have like sometimes 18, 12, in the morning. Not every morning, maybe once or twice a week I'll do that. But yeah, it's very simple, very basic. I don't, I'm not a good cook. And I always ruin the steaks. If I cook them, I overdo them. So I just keep it simple, ground beef
And can I ask you a question, Dennis? Is there
yeah.
anything? Are you ever wasting food?
Am I ever wasting food?
Are you ever wasting? Do you ever throw out food?
Never.
That's
I
the
usually
big.
I usually
That's
cook to what I know I could eat, but
Yeah.
even if at that particular day, I'll put it away and finish it
Yeah.
up later on or
Because that's what
something.
I always say to people when they buy all this food in the supermarket. Like, how much of that do you actually throw away?
Yeah.
How much of it? And when
And
you
if I
think
make
about it,
something, if I pre-make something, sometimes I'll go on the grill and I'll make like 12 burgers, right? And I'll let them cool down, put them in the fridge, and if I know, okay, I'm not going to get to these, I'll put them in the freezer,
yeah,
freeze them, and then just reheat them
yeah.
down the road. I don't waste food. No way.
It's just basic, isn't it? Just basic
Yeah,
information.
yeah,
Gosh.
and I'll have cheese too. Not a lot, but I like a sharp cheddar or provolone, something like that. I'll eat occasionally. Take a couple slices, to work, and just like a little snack, I guess.
So, if anybody's listening and who's in the same situation as you, Dennis, what one bit of advice would you give this person?
Oh, take it slow. Don't look at other people. Focus on yourself. Work on yourself. Have that mindset of like you gotta help yourself first. You gotta think about yourself. Yes, you have a family and you have other responsibilities and work and this and that, and you can get everything get jumbled up. But take it slow. Healing takes time. Don't rush to like for the shortcut. What I always say to people is, what is it? Easy choice, hard life. Hard choice, easy life. So I always go with the hard choice. Everything I do is if I have to do something in the yard, I'll do the hardest thing first because I just I get it out of the way. But in generally speaking, if you make an easy choice, and when I say easy choice, I mean, if you're gonna go for the shortcut, they never work. Hard work pays off. Nothing beats hard work. So just do the work. It's proven. Look at me. Look at you. Both of you. Amy healed, kidney disease, stage 3 kidney disease. She did it by making diet and lifestyle changes.
At the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, isn't it?
It works every time. The body is so resilient, it will heal itself.
I mean, at the end of the day, when you think about it logically, when you cut your arm, what happens? It
Yeah.
heals
It
itself.
heals.
The body just heals
Yeah.
itself. And I just don't understand why we're being pushed against this. I don't understand why we need to take medication when your body is designed to heal itself.
Right.
That's
Of
it.
course, it's the big food and the big pharma, and they want, they want to stay in business, and they need our help to do that, but they're not getting my help.
And
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, that's what's going on at the moment. These people are getting richer, while everybody else is just struggling. That's the problem.
Yep. So
Well, Dennis,
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure having you on. Before we let you
Yes.
go,
Thank you.
let's talk about your community. Where can people go to find you? Where can they find this amazing community?
yeah, so it's so my Instagram is DT Carnivore. That's the only social media. I'm on Facebook, but I don't really go on it. And Beyond the Bites, it's in Mighty Networks. If you go to Mighty Networks and Beyond the Bite, that's you can find our our channel, our meeting group, and I'm not sure the exact. I'll send you the link if you're able to post it in the meeting
Yes,
notes or
definitely
something.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's everybody's welcome. It's a membership, but what we give people is a lot more than most, I'll say. We try and give as much info as possible, and it's just a one-time membership. We don't charge for anything else inside. Once you're in, you have access to everything. So, but it's really, it's about helping other people. That's really, in the end, that's the main goal.
That's the
Great
main
group.
message, isn't it? The
That's
main
the
message that
Yeah.
we're here to help.
Yep. And there's 88 million people out there that are sick in the United States, and it's just, it's a shame to see it. And you want to help everybody, and that's impossible. But like I said, what we do here and what you guys do is just it's a small step, but it's important, and it's what people need. So
And would you mind, Dennis, for the thumbnail, if we could have like a picture of you, say at your heaviest and where you are right now, so we can actually show people how far you've actually come.
yeah, absolutely.
That would
Yeah.
be
So we get a
amazing.
before and after.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Dennis, is there anything else you want to add, Victoria?
I'm good. This has been a great interview. Thank you, Dennis, for your time. We really appreciate it, and your group is excellent. We
Yeah,
do
thank you
appreciate
guys. I
that too.
love telling my story. I love, sharing and, healing and helping
And
people.
you're definitely a passionate man, Dennis. So keep going. It's amazing, and I'll be joining up as well. And as I said, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure listening to your story, and I wish you ever success in the future.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Same to you guys.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye
All
now.
right.
Big great.
Bye.
Bye.